Hello and welcome to the Angus Report, a news program for cattle producers. I'm Bob Cervera.
And I'm Crystal Albers. From American Angus Association headquarters in St. Joseph, Missouri, we bring you the week's top headlines, including tips for stretching your feed supply.
We discuss controversial new guidelines for school lunch programs.
And we learn some tips for fall calving. Plus, a new program from the University of Missouri aims to improve beef quality from the ground up.
This is the Angus Report. Our top news this week. The long-term outlook is bleak for many drought-stricken producers who've been forced to tap feed resources earlier than planned. But Nebraska animal scientists say there are steps cattlemen can take now to offset limited feed resources this fall and winter.
We think that there's a tremendous opportunity in corn stalk residues. So as yields go up, the amount of plant that's produced also goes up. And so we're producing a lot more plant that is residue than we were 20 years ago. We've got 15 or 16 years of data here at the University of Nebraska that would say that we can actually improve yield by grazing those acres.
We're at a crossroads here where historically the best way to offset higher priced grain was with the use of these grain byproducts, and that's not going to be a great option this year or as great of an option. I would still strongly encourage a sharp pencil and encourage use of distillers grains because I still believe it's competitively priced, but just not as competitively priced as previous years. One good option, especially in some drought areas, would be the use of corn silage. The data are quite clear that as grain becomes more expensive, corn silage fed at higher and higher amounts in the feed yard make more sense. And then lastly, we've been looking at ways to actually use more forage, more residues such as wheat straw or corn stalks. And it may sound funny, but we're trying to look at ways to improve crop residues even to the point of offsetting some additional grain. And that's going to be tough, but there's been a lot of research done on the last few years on ways to do that. I still believe that if you can find local byproducts and local deals, it'd be a wise move to make sure you have inventory when prices are high.
Visit drought.unl.edu for more information on alternative feed resources.
GeneMax is a DNA test to measure gain and grade potential among high-percentage Angus cattle sired by registered Angus bulls. This summer, the program added a function without adding cost, sire match. If bulls have been Pfizer 50K tested, the $17 commercial test can reveal a calf's sire.
So one of the really exciting features of GeneMax is what we call sire match. And this will actually give the ability for any feeder cattle or heifers that have been tested to be paired up with who their sire is. The caveat being that the bulls have to have been HD50K tested in order for us to be able to make use of that feature. You know, we've done some preliminary analysis here in the last couple of weeks that really does show a difference in value for feeder cattle depending on what their GeneMax score is. So for instance, if we assume that we have some 6-weight calves entering the yard and they're going to be on feed for about 200 days, we've been able to show about a $5.50 per hundredweight difference in those cattle based on GeneMax score. So I think as we move along in this and feed yards and cattle buyers start becoming a little bit savvy to this technology, that may be something they want to know because they know that those cattle that have a higher GeneMax score are going to be worth more due to grade and growth when they come out of the yard.
Beef producers calving in the fall face a unique set of challenges caused by summer drought conditions. Experts suggest additional management considerations as fall calving nears.
Producers need to be prepared for early calving dates. In addition, those cows have been on less than optimal forage throughout the summer, and so they're going to be weaker, and you might see a lot more dystocia or calving problems just due to the simple fact that those cows have probably lost some body condition score over the summer, and they're going to be a little bit weaker than they typically would be. Those cows are going to have a longer postpartum interval likely. That means there's going to be a longer delay from the time that those cows give birth until they start cycling and are able to become pregnant again. So some of the things that producers might need to manage is the body condition score of those cows after they calve.
A proposition in California would require labeling of food products made from genetically modified organisms, or GMOs. A significant percentage of food products using corn or soybeans would be affected by the labeling law, but the proposition would exempt animals fed or injected with genetically engineered material. Although opponents of the measure are far outspending their counterparts, recent polls show the proposition has a good chance of passing.
Data from a 2011 feedlot survey shows feedlot operators, regardless of size, believe beef quality assurance policies are vital to running their operations. According to the National Animal Health Monitoring System, over 50% of feedlots, ranging from 1,000 to 8,000 head of cattle, reported they were very familiar with the program. 70% of those same feedlots indicated they had formal training in place for at least one BQA principle, while 96% of the larger feedlots had formal BQA training protocols in place. More results from the 2011 feedlot survey are available online. The U.S. Department of Agriculture has issued updated nutritional guidelines for schools. Although the changes are taking effect during this school year, many organizations have questioned what the requirements mean for meat.
The new Healthy Hunger-Free Kids Act requires that the school environment supports a healthy diet. The new standards for the federal school lunch program are the first such changes in 15 years, and they'll affect nearly 32 million kids.
So what's in the vending machines, what is sold in the cafeteria, all of that will reflect the guidelines and will create for children, when they walk in the door in the morning to the time that they leave in the afternoon, a healthy food environment.
The plan offers more fruits and vegetables, but also calls for just 10 to 12 ounces of protein per week for high school students, and even less for younger children.
It could make a very significant impact on participation in the cafeteria.
But the new standards have had the opposite effect for some families who are concerned with the reduced protein. Visit USDA's Food and Nutrition Service website at fns.usda.gov to learn more about the requirements. For the Angus Report, I'm Mallory Edson.
When the Angus Report returns, we look at how genetics and management can determine efficiency in the feedlot.
We'll also learn about the University of Missouri's unique beef quality program.
Visit angus.org to continue watching this episode of the Angus Report.
The Angus Report is a 30-minute weekly news program geared toward cattle producers, which features top industry news, practical applications, and stories from across the country. Produced at the American Angus Association in St. Joseph, Missouri, the Angus Report airs every Monday morning, with repeats throughout the week on RFD TV, rural America's most important network. Advertising is available in two formats: commercials and program sponsorships. For more information or to reserve your airtime, contact the American Angus Association PR Department at 816-383-5100.